Good evening. Welcome to the public hearing for the Livingston Board of Adjustment. Today is August 27th, 2024. If you're an applicant for a D or use variance, you should be aware that such a variance can only be granted after showing that special reasons for the grant of that variance exists, and that variance can be granted without substantial detriment to the zoning plan of the Township of Livingston. You should also be aware that in order to be granted such a variance, you will require an affirmative vote of 5 members of the 7-member Board of Adjustment. Other variances require a majority of 4 members to grant the variance. If you're an applicant for any variance and your variance is denied by the board, you have a right to appeal to the Superior Court of the State of New Jersey within 45 days of notice of decision, and that court may overturn the decision of this board. If you're an objector to any type of variance that has been granted, you too may appeal to the Superior Court of the State of New Jersey within 45 days of the notice of decision. If you do file an appeal, I ask that you please provide a copy of your complaint to our planning administrator, Jackie Hollis. Pursuant to the requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the Star Ledger and West Essex Tribune, and a copy was also posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building. In addition to having notice posted, notice of this meeting was placed on the township's website. Members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions or to make statements regarding each application at the appropriate time. When the time comes, if you'd like to address the board, please come to the front and use a microphone so we can make sure your comments or questions are part of the record. We'll now call the roll. Ms. Khan?
Ms. Khan is here. Mr. Kenya?
Here.
Mr. Sherman?
Here.
Ms. Yuan?
Here.
Ms. Khanna?
Here.
Mr. Beer?
Here.
And Mr. Gemis, our board attorney, is here, and Ms. Hollis and Ms. Madry are here from the planning board.
Thank you. Jackie, we still going to make this the change? Yeah, okay. We're going to start with the second applicant today, make sure everyone can get here. Can you please call the second application?
Block 4902, Lot 15, 26 Byron Place, application number 2024-32-V. Dominic Salazzo, applicant seeks approval for a 20 by 16 deck in violation of the following section. 170-87L1D, front side corner lot yard setback, 35 feet required, 18 feet proposed, 17 feet variance requested.
Good evening, how are you? You're here by yourself? You push the button till it goes, there you go.
Okay.
Okay, if you'd like to swear in.
Would you please state your name and spell it for us, please?
Dominic Solazzo, D-O-M-I-N-I-C-S-O-L-A-Z-Z-O.
Mr. Salazzo, do you swear or affirm that any and all statements you make to the board and testimony you give to the board today will be true, accurate, and complete?
Yes.
Consider yourself under oath.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Salazzo, why don't you tell us what you got?
Okay. Good evening, members of the Livingston Board. My name is Dominic Solazzo, and I have been a resident of Livingston since 2018 with my family of my wife and 2 girls who will be attending Burnett Hill and YMCA Peanut Shell. Thank you for taking the time to review this request. I'm here to seek approval for a zoning variance to permit a 17-foot encroachment into a corner lot setback for 18 feet versus 35 feet allowed for a proposed 16 by 20-foot raised deck off the main level dining room of my split-level home. This request is made with the utmost respect for the zoning regulations and the community's character. I believe that granting this variance is justified based on the unique characteristics of the property and the minimal impact to the surrounding areas. The subject property is a corner lot in Zone R4, which inherently presents unique challenges that differ from interior lots. Corner lots, by their nature, have 2 street frontages, resulting in 2 required setbacks. This configuration restricts the available space for outdoor amenities. The proposed deck will be located along the side street, where the impact of the streetscape is minimal given existing landscape coverage and fencing. The proposed 17-foot variance for a raised deck will not adversely affect the character or aesthetics of the neighborhood. The deck will be positioned in a way that maintains the visual appeal of the corner lot and ensures that it will not obstruct sight lines or create any undue burden on the neighboring properties. The design and placement of the deck has been carefully planned to blend seamlessly with the existing landscape and the architecture of the home. Without this variance, there will be significant practical difficulty in utilizing the property. The existing zoning setbacks leave limited space for construction of a deck that meets both functional and aesthetic needs due to the nature of the split-level architecture and the location of the main-level dining room. The requested variance would allow my family to enjoy a modest outdoor space. Denial of this variance would effectively limit the property's use and enjoyment in a way that is disproportionate to the impact on the community. The proposed deck is designed in accordance with the architectural style of the neighborhood and will enhance the property without detracting from the overall character of the area. Similar structures can be observed in neighboring properties, which suggests that the proposed deck is consistent with local trends and expectations. Approving this variance will support the homeowner's desire to improve their property while maintaining harmony with the surrounding environment. Granting this variance will not pose any detriment to public welfare or safety. The deck will be constructed in a manner that adheres to all building codes and safety regulations. There will be no increased traffic or noise levels, and the deck will not negatively affect the environmental quality of the area. In summary, the request for a 17-foot zoning variance for the corner lot setback is justified by the unique characteristics of the property, the minimal impact on the surrounding area, and the practical difficulties faced by the property owner. We respectfully request that the Livingston Zoning Board approve this variance, allowing the proposed raised deck to be constructed in a manner that enhances the property while remaining in the harmony with the neighborhood. Thank you for your consideration.
Mr. Salazzo, if we could, identify the exhibits that you submitted to the board. One is a set of drawings, 3 pages, and one page is entitled House, the other is stair detailed, and another untitled with rail and other details. I couldn't make out the signature. Did you sign those documents?
I did.
And can I ask, are you an engineer or an architect or anything like that?
I'm a chemical engineer, but
I didn't hear you.
a chemical engineer, but I don't think that's relevant.
Okay. And so you're the preparer of those documents and they accurately depict what you're proposing to the board, correct?
Correct.
That's Exhibit A. Then there are 6 photographs on 3 sheets of paper. The first depicting a proposed deck. Who took those photographs?
That was me. Me.
You did. And did they accurately reflect the images that are set forth in those photographs?
Yes.
All right, so that's going to be Exhibit B, as in Baker. You also submitted 2 surveys. One survey, ELS Surveying LLC, Russell S. Kaufman, PLS, that's dated 3/28/18. That shows existing conditions. Is that accurate?
Yes.
That's Exhibit C. And then the second, or the last exhibit is another survey by the same surveying firm, ELS, with a depiction of the proposed new deck and a yellow highlighted depiction of the 18-foot side yard setback to Crossbrook Road sidewalk and a 59-foot rear yard setback from the new deck. That survey was, those notations on that survey were prepared by you?
Correct.
Okay, and those accurately depict what you're proposing?
Yes.
All right, that would be Exhibit D. I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Does anybody on the board have any questions? Go ahead.
So the deck really is just following the line of the house?
Correct.
Okay. I'm just wondering, do you know how large your lot is? Because I don't see it on here.
It's about the same size, so it's 76 on the width, and on the length, it's about 125, I think it is.
Okay. Okay. All right, so you're just continuing from the existing house.
Correct.
Got it.
That this deck, the new portion, is just going to be connecting to the older deck?
To the patio, there'll be stairs going down to the
Oh, that's a
patio.
patio down
Yeah.
there, okay. It's going to the patio.
And you're only seeking the side yard setback? That's the only?
Only variance, correct.
Any in the public have any questions for this witness? Anybody in the public want to make any statements? Anybody in the board want to make any statements? Does anybody on the board want to make a motion for or against?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Kenya?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Ms. Khan votes yes. Ms. Yuan? Yes. Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
Mr. Beer?
Yes.
Motion passes.
You're good.
Thank you.
You go home. Have some ice cream or something. DQ's open. Go to number 3. Okay, you want to call number 3, please? Yep.
Okay. Block 2701, Lot 21, 30 Swan Road, application number 2024-35-V, Rodak Builders, LLC. Applicant seeks approval to construct a new single-family residence in violation of the following section. 170-87CC4, habitable floor ratio, 30% allowed, 35.99 proposed, 5.99% variance requested.
Hi there, how are you?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matthew Posada. I'm with the law firm Sills, Cummins & Gross, and I represent the applicant, Rodak Builders, who is here tonight proposing an application that would require ratio variance relief. What the applicant is looking to do here tonight is demolish all existing improvements and propose a new single-family home. When considering a ratio, the first thing you ask yourself is whether or not the lot can accommodate what you're proposing to do here, okay? So we took that into strong consideration. The lot itself today as exists has 4 existing variances, 2 of which there's nothing we can do about, that being minimum lot area as well as depth itself. However, the 2 that we could control and eliminate are both front yard variance and side yard variance. When drafting the plans, we made sure we eliminated those variances so that wouldn't be an issue for us. With that being said, we still are triggering the ratio variance. However, we are underneath what would be permitted as the maximum floor area itself. Had we also maximize that bulk measurement, we'd be looking at about another 2% more for habitable ratio. So instead of this being a 5.99, or let's just call it a 6, it would really be closer to an 8% if we were looking to max out all the bulk measurements. And I say that because it was not the intention to try to get as much as we can, but rather to see what was consistent with the character of the, not necessarily the neighborhood, but the R4 itself, and also what people have been asking for when they come into Livingston for a new build. With that being said, I'm going to have 2 professionals testify tonight. My first will be my architect, Eamon Sandra, and my second one will be my professional planner, Nick Graviano. So if I may, I'd like to call my first witness, Mr. Cedra.
Please do.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission. Mr. Posada, you understand that we have 6 members present on this application, and this is the D4 variance.
Yes, I need 5. I'm rolling the dice a little bit.
Right.
Yes. Thank you.
Would you kindly state your name and spell it, please?
My name is Ayman Cedra, A-Y-M-A-N. Last name is Cedra, S-C-E-D-R-A.
Mr. Cedra, do you swear or affirm that all the statements and testimony you present to the board today will be true, accurate, and complete?
I do.
I will, Mr. Posada, with your permission, you can take him through his credentials, all right?
Great, thank you so much. Amy, can you please provide us your educational credentials, whether or not your license is still in good standing, and name a handful of boards you've appeared before where
Sure.
you've been qualified as an expert in architecture?
Sure. I graduated from architecture school in Egypt in 1999. I became licensed here in 2016, and I am licensed in New York, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee. And I appeared in front of this board and many other board, Rutherford, to mention some, Wayne, Bayonne, Jersey City.
And is your license currently in good standing?
Yes, it is in a good stand.
Thank you. Does this board accept him as an expert in architecture?
Does anyone on the board have any questions or objections regarding this witness? There being no objection, the witness is accepted as expert in architecture.
Great. Eamon, just a few questions for you before you show us what we're proposing here tonight.
Sure.
Are you familiar with the bulk requirements for the R4 zone?
Yes,
And are you also familiar with the township itself and the neighborhoods themselves?
correct.
Great. Can you please walk us through what we're proposing here tonight?
Sure. First, I'm going to go over the plans, and then I'll go over the numbers for the habitable floor area ratio and the habitable floor area, and also the building height. So to start with the first floor plan, which is in sheet A01, the first floor plan consists of the living spaces where we enter the house through an entry porch. And then once we enter, we see a 2-story entry foyer. On the left of that, we have the living room. On the right, we have the dining room. And the back of the house, we have the family room and the kitchen. Also, we have 2-car garage in the first floor.
Just hold on one moment. I think we're trying to pull up the architectural plans. These are the civil plans?
This is a civil.
Look at the architecture. Great. All right, there we go.
So
Mr.
the
Pres-
one on the left side is the one I'm referring to. It's the first floor of the house.
Can you just take us from the top again? This way the public can hear
Sure.
as you narrate. Thank you.
Mr. Prasad, the plans that Mr. Cedra is referring to are architectural drawings he's prepared that are designated as A01, A02, A1, A2, and A3. We'll mark that as Exhibit A, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thank you.
So A01, it's the floor plans for this building. The first floor, it's on the left side where you see you enter the house through the entry porch. Once you enter, you will see the entry foyer, and it's two-story entry foyer. On the left of that, we have the living room. On the right, we have the dining room. You enter toward the back, you will see the family room, the kitchen. And also, you will see that between the kitchen and the dining room, we have some transitional spaces, which is the pantry and the butler pantry. On the left side, next to the living room, you will see the powder room and the coat closet. The garage that's on the right side, it's a two-car garage. Once you enter through the mudroom. And also, we have a door to a guest room with its own bathroom and closet. The area of the first floor livable area is 1,404 square feet. The garage area is 443. On the right side, on the top right side, you'll see the second floor to the right, where we see 4 bedrooms. One of these bedrooms is the master bedroom. The master bedroom includes a master bathroom and master walk-in closet. 2 of the small rooms shares a bathroom, which is Jack and Jill bathroom, or a hallway bathroom rather. It's on the left side here. And the 2 bedroom that shares the bathroom is the 2 by the facing front. The last bedroom, which is the one on the left here, that's kind of like an in-suite bedroom with its own bathroom and walk-in closet. And the area for this second floor, the livable area for that is 1,655. Going down into the lower part here, we have the basement. The basement consists of, the majority of the basement is just one big open space used for recreational and playroom. We also have a bedroom with its own egress window and its own closet. We have a bathroom and a mechanical room. And this is the basement layout. Now, the total floor area ratio is by adding these 2 numbers that I mentioned, which is 1,404 plus the 1,655. It gives me a total of 3,059 square feet with the floor area ratio of 35.99. This number, the 3,059, is below the ordinance for the habitable floor area, which is the 3,220. We are below that by 161 square feet. So as you see, we're not even maxed out to the max habitable floor area ratio. Habitable floor area. We only asking for the habitable floor area ratio variance, which is 35.99. Also, I would like to mention that the entry foyer, it's a 2-story foyer. It's not a single story, and it's counted twice in the square footage. So I have about 10-foot foyer by 16. This number is counted twice toward the square footage. So basically, we have like 160 square feet. If this is a single-story foyer, we would have saved 160 square feet. The second page, which is A02, shows the exterior of the building. It's a colonial-style home. If you go down, yep. So by looking at the front, looks a colonial-style home with a modern accent to it. We're using a stone base at the bottom. We're using James Hardy horizontal lap siding as the main material for the front. And also we're using some slat wood vertical slats stained in between the siding. We have a very modern look to the building by using dark black windows, dark gray roofs. We also have a standing seam metal roof above the entry portion and the portion of the garage, which will be black. Once we go around the building, we're using only two materials. We're using the horizontal lap siding along with the vertical board and batten on top, and then the bottom is just a cement porch. The next image will show you also the rendering for the front of the building. Was this in? I have it on the. I have it here. This is what.
So we're going to mark this rendering, if we can, as A2. Yes.
First, the second one? Second one is the last sheet.
Could you describe it again, Mr. Posada?
Yes, it'll be a rendering of the facade of the proposed improvement.
Okay, and we'll have that as B, Exhibit
A2.
A2, rather, I stand
Yeah,
corrected.
Today's date.
And of course, you'll provide that to Ms. Hollis.
So this is the rendering that shows the horizontal white siding that we have here, black standing seam metal roofs above the entry porch, and dark gray roof on top. And then we have the wood slats, the stained wood slats in between. Black windows. As I said, it's a colonial style home with some modern accent to it.
And again, what's the height of this improvement?
The height of the building is 31 feet, 0.85, where it's, the height required by code is 35 feet.
Great, so approximately a little over 3 feet below.
Exactly.
Thank you. I have no further questions for this witness.
Does anybody on the board have any questions?
I
I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
Go.
Okay. I'm looking at the survey that you provided. At the right side of the house, I see a 4.57 distance from the rear side of the house to the property line. Is that right?
Yes, on the right side, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. And
But this is the existing building. The existing building will get demolished.
oh, okay. Do you have
This is not,
Gotcha. Do you have another
yes,
rendering showing
for the new survey, for the
I
new
see.
site plan.
the site plan?
Yes, this is it.
And that will show the adequate setback.
I see. Thank you.
Front, side, and also rear.
I see. Thank you.
Mr. Posada, those documents are part of the site plan, correct?
Yes, sir.
So why don't we mark the site plan by GB Engineering LLC, Thomas G. Stearns III. He's the professional engineer in PLS. It's dated May 23, 2024. That'll be A3.
Okay. Yep.
And we have one more, which is drainage calculations. We might as well mark it where we're at it, I believe. That was prepared by GB Engineering LLC and Mr. Stearns, dated May 23, 2024, consisting of 6 sheets. We'll mark that A4.
Mr. Chairman, those are part of the submission.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
They
you.
were part of the submission.
It was? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You have a question?
Yes. So I'm looking at the architectural plan, and in that drawing, the roof seems to be much higher than as shown in the rendering that you just shared. So you see that the roof is much higher than the front, and if you bring up the rendering, the picture this one, it's lower. So which one is it going
The
to be?
accurate one is the architecture one, because has the measurements on it.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
all right. So what is the height of that, the
31
attic?
31 feet 9.5, which is 31.85 feet.
So that's the total
That's the height
structure.
from average grade to the highest point of the
Right,
roof.
and what is the height of the attic?
The attic, there is no attic, like
no
livable attic? No, we don't have a livable attic. We will have a pull-down stair just
Okay.
to access the attic if there is a mechanical equipment up there, but there's no attic.
Okay,
No attic for habitable
For
space.
habitable, but there is a roof line.
right, of course.
The roof line, I would say you have inside maybe like 6'8" to 7 feet inside.
Okay. Is it shown in any of the drawings?
It's not shown in the drawing because it's, as I said, it's not a livable
you have
attic.
dimension.
So we don't have a study for it, and then
You have dimensions on the top right rendering.
the dimension is just for the windows, I think. We were measuring the windows.
But that goes to show the height of where we could actually have before it slopes
Actually,
down.
do you see the 5'7"? Yeah, the 5'7" is the ceiling in the attic, the collar tie. And then you have a 7 foot. But again, this attic is not accessible by a means of egress. It's a pull down.
Okay. And you said the house, original house, the current property has many more variances, which
Correct.
you are not, you're getting rid of, and you're only applying for that one,
Only the ratio.
only the ratio variance,
We're
yeah.
getting rid of the front yard variance. We're getting rid of the side yard. As you know, the existing house
Right.
has a 4 foot side yard on the right
4.7,
side.
yeah.
So these are the two we're getting rid of.
Right. And the other two we cannot eliminate.
And the
because
other two has
it's
to
the
do with
size
the
of
lots
lot.
itself, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Posada?
Uh,
Just as there seems to be a little bit of space, but you say you're not going to be using the attic, can we just make that a stipulation that
Absolutely.
the attic will not be habitable?
Absolutely.
Okay, great, thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Anybody in the public have any questions for this witness? Please come forward. Yes, please come to the mic. This is for a question, not a statement, right?
We're from, my name is Thierry Mint. I'm from 34th Swan. I just want to know
Would you be kind enough
what
to
is.
spell your name, please?
Oh, Thierry Mint, THIRI-MYINT.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm wondering, what was the original, let's say, rectangular shape of the original house that you're demolishing? And what is the rectangular dimension of the blueprint, if I'm making any sense, for the new one? What's the comparison like?
Can we get the existing survey to see if she has any numbers on it?
Says it right there.
Or if you have an overlay of the old and then the new?
But the existing house is getting demolished, so we don't go and measure it. But I can tell you the square footage of the existing.
Correct. What's the square footage of the existing
She's not.
building?
No, he doesn't have it on there. No, he didn't do the measurements for the existing.
Oh, here. Dwelling is 1350, the existing. Existing?
Isn't it with the first floor and second floor together?
No, this is kind of like the footprint on the lot. It doesn't count both floors. So the footprint is 1,350. The proposed dwelling is 1,847.
Correct. I'm on a 34 side, so which is the northern side. So can you tell like what would be, how many feet would be closer to my property for the new dwelling compared to the original dwelling?
Which side is yours? Is yours?
Mine is the north side, I'm on 34. Waddell side.
So you're on the right-hand side.
So you are actually with the existing building. The existing building is much closer than the proposed to your house, because the existing building is 4.25 to the property line. This is the existing house.
4.52, I think.
Want to stand up there and show?
Do you see that, this number? Your house is here, right, on the right side?
I'm on this side.
On the left side? Okay. So the left side here is 29.49. Can we get the other one? The proposed dimension here is 15.5.
So about 29, like 14?
So there is
14
a
feet closer?
10-foot difference, I think, between both.
29? Originally it's 29, and now it will be 15.
Yeah,
29,
miss-
okay, so, yeah.
Can you please stand by the mic, just so we can capture your
Sorry
voice?
about
That's okay.
I'm trying to clarify. Originally, it was 29 feet away from my property,
Correct.
and now it's 14?
Now it's 15.
15. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions for this witness? Floor is
Great. I'd like
yours.
to call my last witness, my planner, Nick Graviano. Thank you, Alman.
Good evening, Mr. Graziano. Would you please state your name and spell it for us, please?
Yes, my first name is Nicholas with an H, last name Graviano, G-R-A-V as in Victor, I-A-N-O.
Thank you, Mr. Graziano. Do you swear or affirm that all the statements and testimony you're going to give to the board today will be true, accurate, and complete?
I do.
Consider yourself under oath. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick, can you please provide this board your educational credentials and whether or not your license is still good standing? Please also name 3 boards you've been qualified before in the past as a licensed planner.
Certainly. My name is Nicholas Graviano. I'm a planner and partner with Graviano and Gillis Architects and Planners at a business address of 101 Crawford's Corner Road in Holmdel, New Jersey. I hold a bachelor's degree from Rutgers University, a master's degree in city and regional planning from Rutgers University, a law degree from the Temple University School of Law, where I received a distinguished class performance in state and local government law. I've been qualified by this board on numerous occasions, as well as over 100 boards in 18 different counties in the state of New Jersey. My New Jersey professional planner license is valid, and I also hold an AICP certification.
Thank you. Does this board accept you as an expert in professional planning?
Anyone on the board have any questions or objections regarding this witness? There being no objection, the witness is accepted as expert in professional planning.
Thank you so much. Nick, did you have an opportunity to visit the subject site?
Yes, I had an opportunity to visit this site on 2 separate occasions, the first time yesterday and the second time today before the hearing this evening.
Did you also have an opportunity to review this township's master plan as well as the R4 zoning requirements?
Yes, I did.
Can you please walk us through why you believe that we meet the justifications for a ratio variance?
Certainly, the applicant is before the board this evening for a specific piece of property known as Block 2701, Lot 21, with a street address of 30 Swan Road. As you heard in previous testimony, this is an undersized lot located in the R4 district. The applicant's lot is 85 by 100, 8,500 square feet, whereas that is less than the minimum lot size required by the district, which is 9,375 square feet. The applicant, as Mr. Posada indicated in his intro, is also short in lot depth, whereas 125 feet is required and 100 feet is existing and proposed. This is a lot which the applicant has gone through great lengths to find a development scenario that is, one, befitting of the neighborhood, befitting of the site, with minimizing the amount of variances being requested before the board this evening. The applicant is requesting a D4 FAR ratio variance. As the board knows, the applicant must demonstrate both the positive and negative criteria related to that variance. The positive criteria relates to special reasons. Those are found in advancing purposes of zoning of the municipal land use law. This proposal certainly advances Purpose A, promotion of the general health, safety, morals, and welfare. That's done by providing a house built to current code standards, as well as bringing a house to the neighborhood which eliminates a front yard setback variance, as well as eliminating a side yard setback variance, which is currently 4.52 feet, whereas a minimum of 10 feet is required by code. It also promotes Purpose G to provide sufficient space and appropriate location for a variety of residential uses to meet the needs of New Jersey citizens. And as you saw through the impeccably designed floor plans and elevations, and as well as the building rendering, it certainly helps promote a desirable visual environment through creative development techniques and good civic design and arrangements. Looking at the negative criteria, the applicant must demonstrate that there's no substantial impairment to the zone plan or zoning ordinance. The applicant is before you this evening with a single-family dwelling, which is actually below the required habitable floor area number, not the ratio, that's required with this district, whereas 3,220 square feet is permitted. The applicant is before you this evening with 3,059 square feet, whereas the foyer was also calculated. The applicant has a two-story foyer, which obviously doesn't occupy any floor space on the second floor, but was used in the calculation. I would like to also note, as you see in the bulk chart, the applicant is meeting every single bulk requirement except for the habitable floor area ratio. So this is a scenario where the applicant is meeting all required setbacks of the district. So the increased habitable floor area ratio is not a result of a building which is outside of the footprint which otherwise be required by ordinance. I had a chance to look at the neighborhood on 2 occasions. This is certainly a house designed with a character that fits in with the neighborhood. The neighborhood does consist of a majority of two-story single-family dwellings with attached garages. So this is certainly a house which is befitting of the neighborhood. So in summary, the applicant's request for the D4 FAR variance advances purposes of zoning A, G, and I without any substantial detriment to the zone plan or zoning ordinance.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Does anyone on the board have any questions for this witness? Do you have some, sir?
So if I could, Mr. Graziano, you're opining that the proposal will accommodate the proposed excess development here, correct? It will accommodate it pursuant to the...
Yes, I see...
the Coventry Square case, right?
Yes, that is correct. You know, the FAR variance proofs are similar to the D3 conditional use standards, where the applicant must demonstrate that there are no potential ills from the requested FAR increase. I would also like to note that the applicant is proposing a 2-car garage and a 2-car driveway. So as per RSI standards, there are 3.5 off-street parking spaces, which meets the code requirements. And as I stated previously, the applicant is meeting all required setbacks. The applicant is also 3 foot and change lower than the highest height permitted by the district. So there's certainly no impacts related to light, air, and open space with the applicant's proposal.
And you also testified and opined that it's compatible to the other neighborhood
Yes,
homes
this
and-
neighborhood does contain many 2-story dwellings, which the applicant is proposing this evening with attached garages. It's consistent with the neighborhood character.
Thank you very much.
Nothing else from the board? Anybody in the audience, the public, want to have any questions for this witness? Okay. Do you want to have a closing statement?
Yes, please. Do you want to open it to the public for a statement first, or?
We can do that.
Why not?
Anybody in the public want to make a statement regarding this application? Now it's your turn.
Great, thank you so much. So in the interest of brevity, I'll be very quick. At the end of the day, this is a project we're seeking a ratio. The ratio has one question only that you really should hold in on, and that's whether or not the lot can accommodate it. As you've heard from all of our professionals, not only can the lot accommodate it, we also did a max out what we could have, quote unquote, potentially have done with the bulk measurements as far as it goes with setbacks, building height, or floor area. We were conscientious of all of that, and we hope that your board finds favorable.
Thank you. Does anybody on the board want to make any statements?
We will mention that the attic will be specifically
That'll be a condition of the
conditioned,
approval.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
That's not habitable, yes. Does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
Ms. Yuan?
Yes.
Ms. Khan votes yes. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Beer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Posada.
Have a good night all.
Take care. Jackie. Okay, number 4. Keep it rolling. Number 4.
Block 5602, Lot 12, 23 Dogwood Terrace, application number 2024-31-V, 23 Dogwood LLC. Applicant seeks approval for an open front porch, second-story addition, and rear yard deck in violation of the following sections. 170-99C2, front yard setback, 40 feet required, 28.3 feet proposed, 11.7 feet variance requested. 170-99C3, right side yard setback, 10 feet required, 3.73 feet proposed, existing, 6.27 feet variance requested. 170-99C3, left side yard setback, 10 feet required, 2.79 proposed, existing, 7.21 variance requested. 170-99C3, rear yard setback, 35 feet required, 25 feet proposed, 10 feet variance requested. 170-99C4, side yard aggregate, 30% required, 13% proposed, 17% variance requested. 170-87BB4, habitable floor ratio, 30% allowed, 41% proposed, 11% variance requested.
Hi there.
I have to repeat the whole thing? Well, good evening again. My name is Diana McGovern. I'm with the law firm of Gascio and Pomaco, and it is my pleasure to represent Miguel De Leon and his family, who live at 23 Dogwood Terrace, and they are here seeking variance, in particular an HFAR and some bulk variances, which by and large are pre-existing, to do a pretty much of a modest addition to their home. The variances here are driven largely, or all of them are driven by the fact that the De Leon's lot is only 5,250 square feet in an R4 zone. The house is quite small, and they seek to add to the first floor an area so that they can have a dedicated dining space, and then upstairs they just want to add a full bathroom and a bedroom so that Mr. De Leon, his wife, and his 3 children can each live as they would like. The variances that we seek in addition to the HFAR, which currently the house exists at 30%, with the proposed addition it would be 41%. We are not increasing the side yard setbacks. They are pre-existing. In fact, you'll hear from our architect that the addition was stepped in so that they don't increase or they're not exacerbating the side yard setbacks. The rear yard setback is created as a result of the deck. Because of the topography of the property, the deck, we can't guarantee that the deck can be less than 36 inches off of the ground. And finally, the front yard setback, which is largely pre-existing, has to do with a small area where it's being squared off in the front to put in an open front porch, which is just running along the same line of the front. I have 2 witnesses tonight, Mr. De Leon and our architect, Frank Hall. So I'd like to call Mr. De Leon first. Okay.
Mr. De Leon, do you swear or affirm that all the statements and testimony you're going to give to the board this evening are going to be true, accurate, and complete?
Yes.
Consider yourself under oath. Please say your name and spell it, please.
Hi, my name is Miguel De Leon. Last name De Leon, D-E-L-E-O-N.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. De Leon, where do you live?
23 Dogwood Terrace.
And you live there with your
My
wife and children?
and kids.
All right. And how long have you owned 23 Dogwood?
It's 2 years.
Okay. And how long have you lived in Livingston?
2 years.
Okay. And do your children go to school in Livingston?
Yes.
All right. Now, if you could describe the current house and how it's situated. When you walk in the front door, what do you have, a living room?
It's like a open concept. There's pretty much no division, you know.
Okay.
But it's tiny, so there's no
you have a living room and you have
Living room.
a small kitchen?
Yes.
And do you have a dining area?
No, it's like pretty much eating kitchen, pretty much.
Okay. And where's your current laundry room?
Laundry room is in the basement.
All right, and how many bathrooms do you currently have?
It's 2 bedrooms,
A full bathroom and a half bathroom?
2 full bedrooms.
And where are they located?
One is in the first and one in the second.
Okay. And are you here seeking to have a master bedroom?
I would love to get a master
Okay, so
bedroom.
you and your wife would like to have
Yeah.
your own bathroom away from the kids?
Yes.
All right. And also, I saw on the plans, there's a laundry room proposed for the second floor?
Yes.
In terms of the neighborhood and your neighbors, let's start with the neighbors to either side. Is your house currently smaller than the houses to either side?
It's one of the smallest houses.
In the whole neighborhood?
In the block, I will say.
And with this addition, will you still be on the smaller side in the neighborhood, or will you be similar?
It's pretty similar, average, I would say.
Okay. And are you losing any parking as a result of the
No.
addition? Okay, that's all I have for Mr. DeLeon. The board may have some questions for you.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for this witness? Does anybody in the public have any questions for this witness? No? Okay.
Okay. Next, we'd like to call Frank Hall. Mr. Hall's, I'll ask, Mr. Hall, I think you have to give your name and,
Mr. Hall, do you swear or affirm that any and all statements and testimony you give to the board this evening will be true, accurate, and complete?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and spell it for us, please.
My name is Frank Hall, H-A-L-L.
Mr. Hall, could you give the board your business address?
Yes, my business address is 14-25 Plaza Road in Fairlawn.
And what is your occupation?
I'm an architect.
How long have you been practicing as an architect?
I've been licensed in New Jersey since 1992. I have a Bachelor of Architecture from the New Jersey Institute of Technology, 1987. My license is currently in good standing with the state of New Jersey.
And I know you've testified before this board as an architectural expert. Have you testified before other boards in the state of New Jersey and been
Yes.
accepted as an?
Quite a few, yes.
Okay. We move to qualify Mr. Hall as an expert in the area of architecture.
Does anyone on the board have any questions or objections regarding this witness? There being no objections, the witness is accepted as expert in architecture.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hall, were you engaged to prepare the architectural plans for this site?
Yes, I was.
And I think the last date revised was April 29th, 2024. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that's the submission to the board that you all have. Could you please describe the site and the existing structure?
Yes. As you alluded to, this is a property in the R4 district and is one of the smaller lots in the R4 district. It's only 5,250 square feet in area, which is 56% of the required lot area, and it is what generates most of the concern about the property. There's the house on the property is a Cape-style dwelling, and it's a small Cape-style dwelling. Most Cape Cods universally are at least 24 feet deep, and most are about 32 feet wide. This house is only 20 feet deep and about 24 feet wide. And in fact, when you, as Mr. DeLeon referred to the first floor of his house, he called it an open concept. I would call it one room. It's 19 feet by 23 feet is the entire first floor of the house. You walk in the kitchen area to the left, a little eating area, living space to the right. The house really is tiny. And on this small lot, at that size, we are currently at 30% habitable floor area ratio. So we really have nowhere to go to expand the living space in the house within compliance with the ordinance.
Can you take us through the plans as proposed?
Sure. I'll be referring now to sheet A101, which contains our basement floor plan and first floor plan.
zoom in a
we
little
could.
bit here on the first floor plan.
If I can interrupt you for a second, Mr. Hall? That's part of your site plan submission?
Yes,
right,
site
and
plan
tho-
submission of 4 sheets consisting of T101, A101, A102, and A201.
And there's a survey included in that?
And there's a
correct?
survey submitted as well with it.
And that was prepared by Mr. Deedy, if I'm pronouncing that correctly? D-E-A-D-Y is the surveyor?
Yes, James
Okay.
James Deedy or Deddy, I'm
So
not
we'll
sure.
mark that A1. Please, thank you.
Looking at the first floor plan, the walls that are shaded in are the new walls. If you follow my cursor here, this is the area of the existing house. So the move we made is to add a little bit of additional house to the left within the side yard setbacks, just to get the bulk of the house a bit more centered on the lot, because we didn't want to have like a dog leg looking house with the addition looming up behind the front of it. We didn't want to wind up with something hokey looking when we were done, trying to get the new addition in the back aligned as much as possible with the bulk of the front of the house. We have a new addition at the rear, which complies with the side yard setbacks. We've brought the addition in within the side yard setbacks. And also, there is a bedroom and bathroom on sort of an in-between level. Above the garage is currently the master bedroom and master bath. And it runs all the way to the left-hand side of the garage here. And going back to our site plan, that area above the garage, that side yard is only 2.79 feet. So right now, the left-hand side of the master bedroom is above the left-hand wall of the garage, which is only 2.79 feet from the side lot line. What we've done with our new design is we've eliminated that living space at the edge of the garage. We've brought the living space in, and I will go to our floor plans. This takes a moment to shift around. As you can see here on our second floor plan, this area to the left, it says roof below, that's currently all the master bedroom, that dotted in area to the left with a little doghouse dormer at the front. We've brought it in significantly and alleviated that existence of the living space with a window overlooking the neighbor that's so close to the side lot line. So we've brought all of the new construction within the side yard setbacks as far as the new footprint. Currently, the house has a sort of attic space, typical Cape Cod second floor space under the roof with some doghouse dormers. The main thing we're providing here is an addition to the rear for kitchen and dining space, and a second floor, a proper second floor with an 8-foot ceiling to provide the bedroom space. We've done everything that we can to, going back to my site plan, we've done everything that we can to make the house as compliant as we can within the constraints of the lot. This addition at the rear is brought in to within the side yard setbacks. A little bit of addition in the front here to sort of get the bulk of the house centered on the lot and centered with the addition behind it is within the side yard setbacks. So the setback, the variances we have here, again, as Ms. McGovern said, are largely existing conditions. We have the side yard setbacks and combined side yards, where we've actually alleviated some of the concerns there. Also, I hadn't mentioned on the right-hand side of the house, where the existing house is particularly close to the side yard. In that bedroom, there is currently a window overlooking the neighbors, and that is here to the front of the chimney on the right-hand side of the house. We've eliminated that window
with the new construction. So the new bedroom does not have a window at the side there. So none of those walls that are particularly close to the neighbors have second-floor windows overlooking the neighbors.
Can we talk about the deck? Are you ready for that?
Sure. One of the variances is for the rear yard. We're allowed to encroach up to 10 feet into the rear yard, into the required rear yard, as long as it's less than 200 square feet. I believe it's less than 200 square feet, and the deck is no more than 36 inches above grade. Well, we've kept it to a 10-foot encroachment, less than 200 square feet, and the only reason it's actually still on the chart there as a variance is because we weren't sure that we would quite make 36 inches above grade. What we've done is the new addition at the rear is stepped down a foot, 2 steps, to get the back of the house closer to grade, and the deck is a couple of steps down from the new addition. So we go from the main house, down a foot into the new addition at the rear, and then down further to the deck at the rear to try and get as close as we can to 36 inches above grade.
Is that due to the topography?
And, yeah, well, the house is, and I'll go to the elevations again. The story of this house kind of requires me to jump around a bit. But if you look at this right-hand side elevation, you can see that the grade drops off a bit as we go to the rear of the house. So by the time we get to the back of the house is kind of high out of the ground. So we've stepped the addition down, and we're stepping the deck down from the addition to get it back down closer to grade. But with that, I was afraid we might wind up in the final condition being 40 or 42 inches above grade. I didn't want there to be a final CO problem or something like that if it doesn't wind up being exactly 36 inches.
What is the building height?
The building height is a foot less than permitted. I believe it's 34 where 35 is permitted. Let me just see here. Yes, what's permitted is 2.5 stories, 35 feet. We are 2 stories and 34 feet.
Now, with respect to the front yard, I think you began to say the front yard is largely pre-existing and you were centering it. What is that area going to be?
The little bit of addition, that's like a mudroom space coming in from the garage, because there's quite a bit of elevation difference between the garage and the first floor. So.
And are you also adding an open porch in the front?
We are also adding an open porch. The existing front yard is at 34.35 feet, and the new open porch is at 28.3 feet. We couldn't quite make the sort of prevailing setback accommodation because we didn't have the requisite number of neighbors to our right. We ran into a corner house before we got I believe it's the 3 houses we have to have on either side. We had them on the left side, but to the right side we had house, and then corner house. So we couldn't actually point to that.
So because you've been to the area, is this pretty much the prevailing setback in the area?
It is, yes.
And what about the size of this home in comparison to the neighbors on either side? Is it going to be comparable, larger, smaller?
It will be comparable to the house to our left, which is a sizable, recently redeveloped house. The house to the right will be larger than that house because that house is larger than our existing house, but relatively small as well.
And what about the houses in the neighborhood? Is this similar to what the proposed addition would be?
There's been a mix of existing and redeveloped houses in the neighborhood, so it will be similar to most of the redeveloped houses.
Could you, the variances, especially the habitable floor area, would you say that was directly related to the size of the property?
Yes, if we had a compliant 9,375 square foot lot, our habitable floor area ratio would be 22.9%. So it's directly attributable to the exceptionally small lot in a district that contemplates a 9,375 square foot lot where we only have 5,250 to work with.
In your opinion, is this an aesthetic upgrade to the home?
Yes, I keep trying to get to the elevations, and I think that what we've prepared for Mr. De Leon and his family is a classic style house. It's of a traditional style, sort of federal style, if you will. We have some, I know there's some concern about habitable attics. We have some little dormers up the attic level. They're really decorative. Under this hip roof, there's really very little space. There'll be only a pull-down stair, no habitable space up there. But I think the nice open porch at the front, which adds something to the kind of neighborliness of the house, is beneficial to the streetscape, combined with the, I would go as far as say stately traditional architecture, will be an aesthetic benefit to the neighborhood.
Do you see any negative impacts to the neighborhood?
No, I see this as largely making several moves to ameliorate some existing negative impacts vis-a-vis pulling in living space from the side lot line, improving the appearance of the home.
Would you say it's, I think you told me when we were preparing that it's bringing the house into conformance with modern living standards. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, yes. We don't do too many homes these days where you have a 23 by 19 first floor.
I have no more questions. I think the board probably does that.
Anybody on the board have any questions for this witness?
And you did say the attic, there's no living space or anything?
No living space
pulled down.
whatsoever.
I have a question. So, thank you. I think that you put together a really thoughtful plan for the lot size, so thank you. But I do have a question about the two front yard setback numbers. We have 34.35 for the home, and then there's the porch, which gives you a 28.3 feet proposed, right? But the house itself is 34.35 setback, correct?
Correct.
So it's just the porch, really? That's
Yes.
where you're
There's
getting the 11.7?
Nothing, we're not building anything that's any closer to the front lot line than the existing 34.53, other than the open porch.
Right, so really, the variance requested, if you're looking at just the setback for the house, is 5.65 feet, correct?
I'm sorry?
If you're just looking at the setback for the house, not the porch, it's 34.35 feet, and the requested variance is 5.65 feet.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
thanks for clarifying.
I have a quick question. On your construction code data, you have 34 feet for the maximum height, which is what you said before, but on the front elevation, it says 30 foot 11 inches, which seems to sort of scale out pretty well. So there seems to be a little bit of a conflict.
Difference, I believe, between grade and average.
Okay, so it's because of the slope in the back.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I wanted to confirm. Anybody else have any questions?
Ms. McGovern, if I might, based upon Mr. Hall's testimony, Mr. Hall, you've determined that the reason for many of these variances is because of the exceptional narrowness and shape of the lot. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that you've made a determination that the purposes of the municipal land use law would be advanced by a deviation from the zoning ordinance, and that there would benefit from a deviation if approved. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
And you've also, in terms of the habitable floor area ratio and the habitable floor area, you've determined that the proposed dynamics that you've discussed will accommodate this proposal and what's going to go on, and also will be compatible with the neighborhood. Is that your opinion as well?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Does anybody in the public have any questions for this witness? Anybody in the public like to make a statement? Would you like to make a closing statement?
Just briefly, thank you. The current house is undersized with limited functionality on an undersized lot. The proposed addition is in keeping with the current setbacks on the side, and the architect has even stepped it back on the sides with the small area and the open front porch. Largely, the front yard setback stays the same with the exception of the open front porch. The applicant seeks to have a master bedroom with another full-size bathroom and a kitchen that has a dedicated dining area. This modest addition requires an habitable floor area variance due to the undersized lot. We propose that the addition will create no negative impact to the neighborhood and will actually be in keeping with the size and the styles of the home in the neighborhood and will be an aesthetic enhancement to the house and the neighborhood while bringing the house into conformance with modern living standards. We submit that the proposed variances will enhance the aesthetics and promote the general welfare and have no negative impacts on the surrounding properties or the zone plan.
Anybody on the board want to make any statements? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
Okay. All right, Ms. Khan votes yes. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Kenya?
Yes.
Ms. Yuan?
Yes.
Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
Mr. Beer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd like to have Ms. Khan call the first matter which was scheduled for this evening.
Surely. Ms. Khan?
Block 2602, Lot 29, 35 Sycamore Avenue, application number 2024-24-V, TRI Owners Realty LLC. Applicant seeks approval to construct a new single-family residence in violation of the following sections: 170-98C2, front yard setback, 50 feet required, 38.8 feet proposed, 11.2 feet variance requested. 170-98C4, rear yard setback, 40 feet required, 18.7 feet proposed, 21.3 feet variance requested. 170-98CC3, habitable floor ratio, 21% allowed, 34% proposed, 13% variance requested.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Elizabeth Durkin from the Durkin Firm on behalf of the applicant. Unfortunately, they were here this evening at this point asking for an adjournment to be carried to the September meeting because our planner has a conflict, and he's been in Newark. He was supposed to be here first. So we do not want to proceed without our planner. We think that's important testimony. So we respectfully request to be carried to the September, I think, 24th meeting, if I calculate the dates correct.
Mr. Chairman, that is the date. Just note for the record that there is another
Yes.
attorney that's present for this matter.
Yes. I would like to, I know there's objectors. Do you agree to that date, whoever the attorney is, or the objectors?
Hi, good evening. For the record, my name's Lisa John Buss. I'm with the law firm Kiedza, Shahining, and Jan Tomasi. I'm representing the Pearlsons, who directly abut the subject property to the rear. There are items that I would like to have worked out with the applicant before tonight, but yes, we can adjourn to September 24th. There might be additional objections that we have, which were already noted in one of my letters, as well as some revisions to plans that have been filed to date. But yes, September 24th is fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr.
Okay,
Chairman,
so
I might
just for
note
the record, no further
that
noticing required?
counsel for the applicant and counsel for the objector have been trying to work with each other to coordinate certain dynamics of this application to see if we can resolve it. So, and I thank them for their efforts.
And just for the record, there's no further noticing required on behalf of the applicant.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, therefore, this is adjourned to September 24th, we said, right?
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Is anybody else here?
Thank you for your understanding, everybody. Okay, let's call the last application.
Block 4005, Lot 6, 16 Winans Road, application number 2024-25-V, Ian Telfer and Jody Aranias. Applicant seeks approval for new construction of a single-family residence with covered front and rear porches in violation of the following section: 170-87BB4, habitable floor area, 3,220 square feet allowed, 3,798 square feet proposed, 578 square feet variance requested.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you. Hello, good evening, board members. Thank you for your time tonight. I am Jody Aranias Telfer, and this is my husband, Ian Telfer. And we've been living at 16 Winans Road since 2006, way before we had kids.
Would you mind if I interrupt you just for a second?
Sure.
All right. I need you to go back for the record, and you've already said your name. Just spell it for us. All right.
T as in Tom, E-L, F as in Frank, E-R, Telfer.
And your name, your
Ian Telfer. Ian Telfer.
Okay. Are either of you going to testify?
Yes, and we
Yes,
brought
so
our...
I'm going to do this all together.
Yes.
And if you can identify yourself, please, and spell your name.
Is it, it's good? Daniel Dubinet, licensed architect, state of New Jersey. I've appeared before this board.
Right, okay. All
Before.
right. So do all three of you
Yes.
swear or affirm that any statements or testimony you give to the board this evening will be true, accurate, and complete?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Mr. Architect, would you please state your qualifications for the board?
Thank you. So I've appeared before this board before. I see some new faces. I haven't been here in a while. I've been practicing architecture in this area for over 20 years. I primarily focus on residential architecture. My license is in good standing and current, and I'm here to represent my customers.
Okay, does anyone on this board have any questions or objections regarding this witness? There being no objection, the witness is accepted as an expert in architecture. Now back to you.
Thank you. So as I was saying, Ian and I have lived here since 2006 in this same house, 16 Winans Road, and way before we had children, we decided to say, now we have twin sons that go to Riker Hill, and we decided we are going to stay in town because it's a great town, and we wanted to build on the property that we currently have right now. And Daniel, we decided to choose a local architect who has done a lot of great projects in town, so we're keeping within the town theme, and he's going to help us with this project, hopefully.
Thank you. So we're here tonight to seek one variance for habitable floor area. We comply very much with the ratio. Basically, we're in the R4 zone, and I have an exhibit slides that are slightly different from what you have in front of you, so I'd like to mark that into an exhibit A1.
Would you be kind enough to describe what Exhibit A1 is?
A1 is a series of images, photographs, and architectural renderings and floor plans that depict our project.
Are you the one who took these photos and prepared these documents?
Yeah, I took some things from the web, so this is the Google Earth image.
How many documents are within that exhibit, please?
There's 9.
And are those exhibits different than the site plan that you submitted?
Yes.
So that we'll mark this A1, with your permission, we'll mark A2 as the site plan that you prepared dated May 29th, 2024?
Yes.
And 4 pages designated as A1, A2, A3, and A4. And that site plan is based upon the survey information which was prepared by PAC Surveying and Environmental Consultants, rather?
Yes.
All right, which those 2 surveys, there's 2 of them, will be marked A3 and A4. And the final is we have 4 sheets of photographs of the property and the dwelling, with one showing the adjacent house. Did you take those photos?
I did.
And they are accurate of the images?
Yeah, they are accurate, and they depict exactly what's there
So that'll
today.
be A5,
Yes.
if I'm doing this right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we are located in the R4 zone. However, I guess we heard a lot of R4 cases tonight. R4, the minimum lot size is 9,375. The Telfers have 19,834. So we're almost 20,000 square foot. So we're a bit of an anomaly, but I can show you on their street, on their side of the street, all the lots are pretty big. So we are seeking to build a new home, and I'll take you through the floor plans, but the number that we're looking for is 3,798. So we're 578 square feet over the 3,220, which is the maximum you could have. So they give you the maximum of 3,220, but they also give you a percentage of 30%. So when you look at the 30%, we're way underneath that. So we're at 19.14% that we're seeking. So I'm going to show you that the house, as we designed it and as presented, fits very well on the site. There's plenty of open air space. There's actually only one tree that needs to come down as a result of this project. And I'd like to take you through it. So basically, this is a Google Earth image just showing the street. Our home is this box. Currently, there's an existing house on the lot that was built very tight to the side lot line. So we have plenty of room to build to the left. So that's the Google Earth image. Then just give you a flavor of the zone that we're in, so you can see we're on Winnes, and the homes on our side of the street and across the street are fairly significant in size. If that red box is ours, and we're at 20,000, they're very similar size homes, lot sizes on that side of the street. So we happen to be, when they take Livingston or any other town and they create zones, they can't carve out special situations that will happen like on this street versus some of the other streets. So we feel like we're miszoned, obviously because of our lot size. However, it will fit very well on this site. So our next image is of the existing site plan and the proposed. So I could show you that, but we don't need any other bulk requirements, the side yard setbacks, the height, any other issues. And again, the lot is probably 200% larger than what's allowed. And I'd like to just show you the floor plan. I don't want to spend too much time on the plan, but I want to show you that we spent a lot of time on it, meaning that obviously we had this significantly sized lot, and we started to design a perfect home for them. And so we didn't need a living room, we didn't need a dining room. So we've basically, if you look at the floor plan, it's, you can see it. Basically, you have a 2-car garage. They give you 450 square feet free for a garage, which is kind of small. It's 21 by 21. So we're looking for 21 by 24, so there's some extra square footage there, but not much. And then we have a side entry mudroom, a small food pantry, we have a kitchen, and we have a combined dining breakfast room and a family room. And then on the first floor, a guest bedroom, bath, and closet. So nothing excessive, nothing more than they need. And of course, when we designed it, we designed it from an ergonomic point of view. Okay, what's the right size for counters and aisles and tables and the family room without having to add like a lot of other spaces. So the first floor I feel is appropriately sized for the rooms that we need. And on the second floor, 3 children's bedrooms and 2 baths, and neither one of those are anything more than I guess, a nice size, not huge. Like the master bedroom, 16 by 16. They're going to share a closet and, of course, their bathroom. The kids' bedrooms are 12 by 13, and there's 3 of them, and we have a laundry room. So again, nothing over the top in terms of our needs, but it felt like this was the appropriate, this is how we wound up at the 3,798 is through the design process. And then what I thought was very appropriate was the style of the home, which is, when we talk about FAR, what we worry about is how big is this house on the lot? And so one of the ways to minimize how that feels is through the roof lines and making the second floor not as big as the first floor. And so we did I think, a very nice job of artfully doing the roof lines and breaking up the massing of the home. So it's not a big square. I think it has a lot of movement, and the massing is appropriate. And we made sure, obviously, we work with the setbacks. On the right side of the home is 10 feet, on the left side is 36 feet. So the home on the first floor is 53 feet wide, which is, we could go to about 70, but we chose to do a side-facing garage, not a front-facing garage, so it looks a little bit more elegant from the front, not to see the two garages, which kind of shrunk the width of the house, which is a good thing. Look at mass, like massing on the street and massing for the other homes. So I did want to show you that we put a lot of care and thought into the architectural style of the home. I think it's going to be something, obviously, for the Telfers to enjoy, but I believe it'll be a positive impact to the street and the streetscape. Some perspectives of what we could expect to see. So the top left one is a view of the front right. Cute little open porch. And again, I try to bring the roof lines down to create a smaller feel to the look of the house. And then on the top right, you see the front left corner where the garages are. So again, we push the second floor back. We create these cute little roof lines, a charming little side entry. So we're proud of the design. And with our porches and covered porches in the back, we feel it's going to marry well into the landscape. You know, it's not going to look like this box that landed. This diagram you do not have. And this is a diagram that I wanted to illustrate, because I think the issue here is, while we have a 20,000 square foot lot, but we're only allowed 3,220 in the R4 zone. So what I did here, which is kind of interesting, I'm showing this diagram to the left is 11,000 square foot lot, which would yield you 3,220 square feet. And then I proposed this little box here, which is a footprint that would accommodate a 3,220 square foot home. You can see, just as a diagram, the amount of house per lot, and it doesn't, you know, it fits, and this is the expectation that most homes would reach. And then we get to our diagram, and we can see how, even though the house is 578 square feet larger, it sits much better on the Telfers lot, obviously, because they have much more backyard, bigger side yards. And one interesting development that I discovered when creating this diagram, if I took a 75-foot lot, wide lot, and I kept a 10-foot and 12-foot, I would net a 53 feet wide house. Turns out our house is 53 feet wide. So in terms of like what people would see when they drive down the street, it's 53 feet wide, which is what you would get on a 75-foot lot. We're 100. So I felt like it was appropriately massed for the streetscape.
Can we mark that as an exhibit?
Yes.
Say that we don't have that one? So
Yeah,
what are
this
we
will
up to?
be submitted.
That's part of the A1, correct?
Part of the A1.
Okay.
All right, if, I don't know, Ms. Hollis, do you have these exhibits?
No.
Jackie? No. So would you be kind enough, as a conjunction with this application, to present whatever the required number of exhibits are to Ms. Hollis, please?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
I'll email you. So that was a visual for me, you know, because numbers are sometimes misleading. So for me, as a visual aid, that was helpful for us. The other thing that was also helpful is to look at the R3, because obviously we're 20,000 square feet, so we're somewhere in between an R3 and an R2. So I did a quick, I'm not a mathematician, but I did a quick average of the different zones. Okay, so we're somewhere between R2 and R3. We're 20,000. If you take an average of, okay, the max you could have in the R2 is 18%, the max you could have in the R3 is 21, and I did the math, it comes out to the average would be 19.5. So we're under that, we're at 19.1. And if you look at, okay, the maximum you could potentially be allowed to have on a property, it should also be like averaging out. So basically, it comes out to 4,195 square feet. That's appropriate massing for the size lot you have, a scale. So we're under those two percentages and numbers for our ask, which is 19.14% and 3,798 square feet. Lastly, really quickly, sorry, I'll just, two photographs. One is of the current situation. This is the house that will be knocked down, and the one tree that has to get removed is the one to the left. And all the other trees in the backyard, there's no topography change, there's no elevation change, so we could keep every other tree and every other grade the same. So there's not a lot of site work that needs to be done. And then this is a colorized rendering of our proposed house, how it sits on the property. So plenty of air, open space, and light, and obviously I think there's, the positive is update and modernize, develop the property in a nice fashion without any negative aspects that would come from this. And of course, we have a big audience, and basically I think, and I could be wrong, but it's about drainage and controlling our storm water. So obviously we have the engineering department to satisfy, so we'll address all those issues. That's.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody in the board have any questions for this witness? Does anybody in the public have any oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I should
Hold on.
speak up. I have a question. The foyer, is it open to the
Yes.
second floor?
Yes.
When you calculate the floor area, is that area counted once or twice?
You got to count it twice in Livingston.
Okay. Another question is, on your zoning table, you said the first floor is 1,700.5?
Yes.
Second floor is 2,022.6?
Yes.
When I add up, it's not 3798, it's slightly smaller. So could you explain, like, what's the
No.
actual?
What is the math on that one? Sorry.
So I'm looking at 3,720.
We might get dinged for the garage. 'Cause
But,
you-
so basically, the 3798 is the number that we should look at, right?
Yeah, because the garage, they give you credit at 450, and our garage is 524, so there's a difference of about 75 square feet.
I see, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Good.
That's my question.
We
Yeah,
felt
thank
like, all right, we're going to do it, let's get a garage that you can open up the doors. Yeah.
Now, does anybody in the public have any questions? Please come forward.
Hey there, can you hear me okay? Is it good?
Now it's good.
Okay, hi. Thanks for letting me speak. My name is Alan Barron. I am here with my wife, Melissa Jacobs. We live at B-A-R-E-N. A-L-A-N. Her last name is spelled Jacobs, J-A-C-O-B-S. We live at 9 Claremont. We share the back property line with 16 Winans. I would estimate roughly around 30, 35 feet of that back line we share. We've lived in Livingston since 2003, so what is it, like 21 years? Yeah, so that's my intro. Anything else you need to know about me, or is that sufficient?
No, that's
All
more
right.
than enough.
I had a few questions just for clarity that we couldn't figure out on our own looking at the plan, so if you could help us with those. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can get those. In the 3798 feet being sought, I think you just sort of maybe just answered that. That doesn't include the 525 garage, correct?
It includes 75 square feet of that.
Of the 525. Does that include or not include the covered porch?
It does not.
What's the square footage of the covered porch?
In the rear of the home?
Yeah.
I could do that. I hope I could do that. Yes. The rear covered porch, which does not count as FAR, is 16 by 14. Or 15, I apologize.
16
16 by 15.
16 by 15. And then there's an additional patio, correct?
There will be a patio.
But that's outside the 3798?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
The other question, if you know the answer, relative to kind of the impervious surface area of what the house has today versus what the new house has, do you know what the before and after is on that by chance?
I don't know if I could run the differential from lot coverage at the moment. I don't know that number. Do we know that number? No. I don't know the new impervious coverage number.
Okay. I'm guessing probably before it was, oh, I want to guess. So it would be interesting to know that difference.
Yes.
Of the footprint. That's great. So, yeah, and I guess my number, well, let me just start with a real quick statement.
We'll do the statements at the end.
At the end?
This is only questions right now.
Okay, only
So we'll
questions.
get you back up later.
Okay, can I
If
ask,
you have more questions, go
can I
ahead.
express concerns or just questions?
Just questions. The
Just-
express concerns will be during your statements.
Just questions. Okay, could you, I heard the board say that for variances, you really need to explain why you want the variance, the reason for the variance. Could you just help us understand again why the variance from the 3220 to the 3798? Like,
Absolutely.
what's the driver for that?
The driver is the lot size, right? So when we, working with a blank piece of slate or a piece of property, of course, the step one is we look at zoning, and then we say, well, 3,200 would be a big home on a 9,000 square foot lot. 3,200 would be a very small home on a 20,000 square foot lot. So then there was like, okay, do we go crazy and we're allowed to go to almost 6,000 square feet? No, that's not appropriate. You know, we could go to 30% of the lot is also an FAR requirement. So really, we said to ourselves, let's give a house that's not too big, that fits our needs well. So again, like nothing excessive in terms of living space so that was the driver, the design. And then given the luxury of having 20,000 square foot lot, allowed us to get to a home that we're really, really excited about without, I don't think, being obnoxious to where we are.
So is a variance to the R4 rating also being sought then?
I'm sorry, variance
Is
for?
a zoning variance being sought as well?
Yeah, the zoning, the,
Habitable floor area. Habitable floor area.
No, in addition to the floor area.
Nothing else,
Are you
no.
looking to change the zone from R4?
No, they
to
can't do
that.
something
No,
else?
no.
Because that's what that exhibit seemed to say you were trying to do.
no, I would say that, I guess my comment is that we're not the lot size of an R4. So yes, we designed for the lot, you know, taking into consideration the zone, of course, but it's really driven by the lot size.
Okay. Okay, that's all the questions I had. We had some other concerns to share, but we'll
Yes,
do that one.
fair enough.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Please, come up.
Hi, how are you? I live in 18 Winers Road. My name is Chiru Regina Lee. And I just have a question about one of the slides that he showed earlier, which is not including in the package that you could go back to, that compared two houses next door. I happen to be that house.
Oh, I wasn't, sorry, I'll show you the exhibit, but I wasn't comparing your house to the Telfer's home. It was,
Yeah, can you show that
Yes.
picture?
that might be misleading.
Ms. Ali, could you spell your last name, please?
L-E-E, simple.
Oh, all right, that's good.
Yeah, that's,
until you
yeah,
get
the
old
green
like
one,
me.
the pink one is my area, which is in 18 Winers Road. The picture of the house is not correct. My house is way smaller than that show. It's like a 1/3 maybe. I just
Yeah,
want
I,
to let you know, it wasn't correct comparison. That's what I want to identify. That's all I want to say. And I do have comments later. I think I should speak later, right? Okay, thank you.
Basically, it wasn't a comparison of your home.
Okay.
It was a comparison of a generic lot that's 75 by 146.
Yeah,
It just
but-
happens to be drawn in your direction, but it's not your home.
No, he was implying that this is, if the lot was a standard R4 zone
Yeah.
and a standard house that fits on that lot, in the pink is what it would look for. It happens to be drawn on the left. You could have drawn it on the right too. It wasn't depicting your home.
Yeah.
It's just depicting what a standard
I
zoned
got it.
house,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah,
All right, make
it
sure
was
it's clear.
kind of confusing. I
Yeah,
just
that's-
want to
that's fine.
clarify, it's not the correct size
Yeah.
that was representing. Thank
No
you.
problem. Would anybody else from the public like to ask a question? Well, let's just go back here. Yes, please.
Sorry about that,
Of
thank you.
course.
So in the exhibit with the lot sizes, there are a few other lots with a similar size, right? I think lot 6 and lot 4, and then across lot 24, I think are also very large lots.
Yes.
So what is the size of the houses on those lots?
The only
Have you
house
compared?
that I was able to examine was, I think it's 24, that did a sizable renovation. No one, I haven't seen too much rebuilds yet on that street, just one so far. So the sizes of those homes are roughly about 1,800, I would think, to 2,000.
So at 3790, this would be bigger than, the biggest
Then-
on the street?
On the street, yes, except for probably 24 is a big home. 24 is not big? Looked big to me. Again, I looked up the records, it had some old, it was, I'm not sure when it was done, but the Zillow and things have it at a very low square footage, but it's a pretty big house on the street.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question too, I'm sorry. Okay. What is the height of the attic?
The height of the attic, it's, I can tell you what the height is. We don't have any, again, just a pull-down staircase to get to it, so there was no discussion about ever using the attic, so it's, I'll get you the height.
So we could stipulate that the attic will remain uninhabitable?
Yes.
Correct.
And the height of the building is 32.
And then just one more question. What is the current square footage of your house?
I had about 1,500.
I think it's 15 to 1,700.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the board? No other questions from the audience? The public, I should say? Okay. Would anybody in the public like to make a statement? Line up. Seems to be a few. You'll have to get sworn in, so please.
Would you be kind enough to state your name and then spell it?
Sure. Richard Heller, Heller. I'm here with my wife Judith Heller, and we live at 11 Claremont Avenue, which is directly behind the subject house. We're in Block 4005, Lot 20.
All right, Mr. Heller, any statements you make to the board this evening are going to be true, accurate, and complete?
Yes, they will.
Consider yourself under oath, please.
Okay. So we've lived in Livingston for almost 33 years. I'm an attorney by trade. My wife works for the Township of Livingston. We oppose the variance of the 578 feet of habitable space. It's 18% over the R4 limit of 3,220 feet. This would make it the largest house in the entire neighborhood. We're talking about Winans Road, Baldwin Terrace, Mount Haven, Claremont Avenue. Someone on the board was asking about the sizes of the houses. It's public record. 18 Winans Road next door is 1,323. 14 Winans on the other side of them is 1,400 square feet. The largest house on Winans Road is one of the remodeled houses, is 3,175 square feet. There are no houses over the R4 limit. All the houses in the neighborhood stay under the R4 limit. If we look at the actual size of the proposed house, it's much larger because of the porches, because of the additional garage space. The actual size of the house is, with the addition, is closer to 4,000 square foot of the proposed house. Of the neighborhood, there's 88 houses in the neighborhood around that house on those side streets that I talked about: Winans Road, Claremont Avenue, Baldwin Terrace, Mount Haven, the relevant part of Mount Haven that's in that neighborhood. and West Mount Pleasant Avenue, adjacent to Winans Road on Route 10 there. 88 houses, if you look at the 88 houses, the average size of those 88 houses is 1,784 square feet. 72% of those houses are under 1,900 square feet. 6 houses in the neighborhood have had rehabilitations or renovations in the last 5 years. All of those were kept within the R4 limit of under 3,220 feet. You know, we have concerns in the neighborhood that this would be by far the largest house in the entire neighborhood. There's no other house like this house that's being proposed. This is a crack in the dam of the neighborhood. If this family gets a variance, why can't anybody else with that same deep backyard come here and get a variance? Changes the whole character of the neighborhood. One of the things that we're lacking here in Livingston is starter homes for families. And if everybody turns their yard, or their house into a mansion, this is going to be, you know, easily $1 million, $1.5 million house when it's finished. It's not in the character of the neighborhood. The houses in the neighborhood are all under $1 million houses in this neighborhood. And it's not fitting in with the neighborhood of starter homes, you know, in that whole area, if you take a drive through the neighborhood. The existing house is listed at 1,470 square feet. If they built a house to the maximum of the R4 zone, it would be 220% larger than their current house. So if they stayed within the R4 limitations, it would still be 220% bigger than their current house. And the house they're proposing is 258.5% larger than their current house. It's just a gigantic house for this type of neighborhood. Look, it's a beautiful house. I can't say that it's not a beautiful house. It's a beautiful house for Short Hills. It's a beautiful house for some of the other neighborhoods in Livingston. It's not a beautiful house for this particular neighborhood. For 4 people, for this size house, just seems to be enormous for the neighborhood. I know the architect was stressing that the house fits well on the size of the lot. What gives this lot the square footage is not the width of the lot, it's the depth of this lot, right? So, I mean, this house does fill a big portion of the street side of the lot. In addition, my neighbor Alan was asking about permeable, you know, space, because we have a water problem on Claremont Avenue. Whenever there's a large thunderstorm, we're on the side of the hill, the big hill that comes down Route 10. We have a lot of water that comes through. My backyard, Alan's backyard, the people to, you know, on the other side of me, 13 Claremont Avenue, the backyard's all filled with water. I've built up a kind of a berm around my house to direct the water around my house. But I mean, they have a large driveway that they're proposing. That's not permeable. That's not there today. They share a driveway with the neighbor. And I understand they want they want a driveway, but I mean, it's a big driveway because it's got to come around the house, right, and go into the side of the house. There has to be room for the cars to turn. So it's a large driveway, large covered porch, large patio in the back. That's all water, right? That's going to come down on especially R3 houses that are right behind them. So, you know, I'd just like to stress, we don't believe that this house meets the character of the neighborhood. The style doesn't match any house on the neighborhood that's being proposed here. Most of the houses that are close to them are basically walk up a couple steps. It's a ranch. It's a one-level ranch house with a walkout basement. Those are most of the houses that surround this particular house. And again, they're starter homes. So that's what my wife and I would like to add to the record.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to come up and make a statement? Oh, come on up.
Yeah, hi, my name is Ray Lou. I live right across the street, 15 Winans Road. We've been there since 1994.
Would you be kind enough to spell your name, please?
Ray, R-A-Y, last name Lou, L-E-W.
Say it again?
L-E-W.
L-E-W.
Right.
Mr. Liu, do you affirm or confirm that any statements you make to the board this evening will be true, accurate, and complete?
Yes.
Thank you. You're under oath.
Yes.
Please, go ahead.
Okay, we live directly across the street, and he's right. The house does not belong. It's a beautiful house. It really is. Don't get me wrong. I love you guys too. but it just doesn't fit. It doesn't look right, and we've been there since 1994. And we did work on our house ourselves and everything, but we never would do something like that. It doesn't belong there. It just doesn't belong there. It's too big. That's.
Okay, thank you.
Everything that I agree with, 100%.
Okay.
He said it all in a nutshell.
Thank
Okay?
you. Please.
Should I introduce myself again?
Yes, because you have to get sworn in, so.
Alan Barron.
Oh, did you swear me for?
Mr. Barron, you understand that you were sworn under oath? I didn't swear.
I don't think so.
You did not.
I'm not crazy.
Ian. I do. Yes, okay. I come here with just one area of concern, and I just did want to say, come with a lot of deference around homeowners being able to do what they want to do with their own property and build what you want to build, and I agree with what was said. It's a beautiful house, so I don't want to weigh in on whether it fits or not fits. I did want to speak about just the drainage issue relative to what was raised before. I know I reached out to the homeowners. I didn't hear back, so I reached out to Danielle, and we had a lovely conversation. If you look at the exhibit on A1, page 104, just wanted to point out to highlight what Mr. Heller was showing you. If you look at the survey data on the elevation, what you'll see is from the front street of Winans to the back of our backyards, over that 200 feet span, you get about anywhere, depending on where you measure it, a 10 to 15-foot elevation drop. In addition to the drop front to back, you'll also see an elevation drop to the right corner or the north corner of the lot. So that's very well represented by the surveys. And what that just shows you is that like literally 80% of the water that runs off that property does run into our backyard. Now, over the years, we have mitigated that in 3 ways. There's been a natural berm that was there since we lived there. Our house was built in '54. We moved in 2003. Berm has been there. That's been one method. We have invested a lot in irrigation on both sides of our house to take the water that pools up in our backyard and circulate it out to the town drain lines. That's 2. And 3 is the back half of their property is wooded and brushed. And I was, very pleasantly pleased when we spoke that the footprint of the house that is planned, that they, were really just using the front half of the lot, actually less of the lot than they use today, but they were leaving the wooded area and brush, and they weren't changing the grade or the brush. Mr. Duvenet, am I saying that right?
Yes.
Yes. Relayed to me that there are plans to submit a lot surface drainage plan, so I was thrilled to hear that. We also had a conversation because of the driveway and the bigger house footprint, it'll be a catch for water with less impervious surface. We did have a conversation about tying in the gutter downspouts and the sump pump discharge to the new line that the town ran in the front yards of both Winans and Claremont for water drainage. And I believe you thought that there would be enough pitch, because you're going uphill, to hit that line. I don't know if it's the purview of this board or not, but I would like to ask the board if, for whether the variance is approved, or even if the variance is not approved, to have the tie-in of the drain downspouts and some pump.
I'll cut this, it's
Yeah.
not our
Not your purview, all right.
So the engineering department takes care of all the drainage, I think, as probably Mr. Dubonnet explained. No additional water can come off the property after any improvements. Might not deal with the existing water that's coming off, but it can't be increased. Talk to engineering, and they
Yeah.
can do what they can to help you
Yeah.
with the situation.
Yeah, the best thing we could hope on, whether it's a 3,200 square foot build or a 3,800 square, is to have those downspouts and some pump tied in. So that was just the one thing I was hoping that we could kind of make as a requirement of that. But I do understand it's the engineering department,
Yes.
not you guys. I get that.
And they take care of that.
Yes.
That's their job.
And then my last point, I just wanted to weigh in, and again, I don't live on Winans, we live behind you, we're not gonna see the house. It does look beautiful. I'm not gonna weigh in on whether it fits or not, but I will support what Mr. Heller said around over the years, there's probably been, and I have the detail, if the board, if you want it, I'll give it to you, that's fine, but there's been 6 homes that have been completely rebuilt and remodeled. There's 24 Winans, there's 9 Winans, there's 2 on Mount Pleasant, and there's the corner lot on Baldwin Terrace. All of those houses, 3 of them are 3,100 square feet and change, and then the other 3 are in 2,600 to 2,800, and I have the details on those. My only point being to that is that other folks on both Winans and in the neighborhood have been able to do complete rebuilds into beautiful homes and somehow fit it within the 3220 that's allowed. And I guess my last point to the board is it feels like it's what's being asked for is more than just a square footage increase, but rather what's really being sought here but not asked for is a fundamental change to the R4 zone, which is what they're trying to kind of accomplish and work around. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to build a new house. One of my questions for why you need the variance, which I would have loved to have heard today, but I didn't, which was, what's the compelling reason that you needed to go to 2,800 square feet versus 3,220? What was that driver that made you need that extra 600 square foot and not stay within the R4 requirements? I didn't really hear that today. If there was some really compelling reason, I don't know, an in-law is moving from out of town and you need the extra space, something like that, I think I could have maybe more understandable what was being asked for, but it feels like what's really being asked for, but it's not being asked for, is a change to the R4 zone. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to make a statement? Ms. Lee? Yes.
It's me again. I
hold
live
on.
in 18 Winers Row, Livingston, and my name is Chiru Regina Lee. I want to make some statement. I have
Ms.
been
Lee,
living in.
I have to ask you a question first. all
Sure.
right? Do you swear or affirm that any statements that you make to the board this evening will be true, accurate, and complete?
Yes.
Consider yourself under oath. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead.
And I live in 18 Winers Road since 1992 for longest time, and many of our houses did remodel. I did some outside work, inside work. That's it. And my sister live in 25 Winers Road. She's 0.41 acre, and her house only 2,020 something square footage. She remodeled 7 years ago. And most of our house is within R4 zone and standard. So I do think the variance is too much for our street. It doesn't fit our character of our street. And our street is very cozy, starter home style. And also, we have been hit by the rainstorm. Although my house wasn't affected, but all our street neighbors has water problem on Winers Road already. We've lost so much land to the building itself. We change the contour of the nature contour of the land. Of course, with this much of variance, it will make it even worse. In addition, those porch wasn't counted, and those driveway wasn't counted. I think that will create a huge problem in our street, our next to our street on Claremont. And I really kindly want board member to reconsider and let them scale down the remodeling within our R4 zone allowance. Sorry, my throat's tight. And I really want to wish them good luck, and I really love the design. However, it's really not fitting in our street neighborhood. We have all the Winers Road neighbor here to supporting my statement, and I think there's more people want to say something, but I didn't want against you, but it was that variance way too much for our street, and just want everybody to understand that. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Ann Wilkins, ANNEWILKINS, from 20 Winans Road. My parents bought the house in, I think,
Ms.
1970.
Wilkins?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me get you under oath, all right?
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm that any of the statements you're going to make to the board this evening will be true, accurate, and complete?
Absolutely.
You consider yourself under oath.
My parents bought the house in, I think, 1975 or 1976, and I have since taken over ownership of the home. We live on an absolutely wonderful block. I think it's the best block in Livingston. It's made up of predominantly post-World War II homes, ranch and raised ranch homes, very simple. And I support everything Mr. Heller said. I feel that this home will destroy the character of our cozy neighborhood. When I first heard that this house was being built, I was so excited because any renovation does help the entire neighborhood. And we've had 3 renovations on our block, and they're beautiful. Well, except for 24. I think it's too big, even though it's within code. I mean, it is. It's really, really too big. But it's still no variances. This is just, it's ostentatious. It's just too big for our neighborhood. And again, I love you folks, and I hope you get the house that you really want. But I think it's a little selfish to impose this big home on our neighborhood. And I know you don't deal with water, but please have mercy. I flooded 2 times in the past 3 years. You can check with the fire department. I had 24 inches of water in my garage, 8 inches in my walk-in basement. The previous time I had 36 inches in my garage and 12 in my walk-in basement. I lost my car to the flood. We do have a water problem. It goes from east to west and north to south because we're in this crazy topography where the water flows in 2 different directions. We get flooded. We need more trees. We need more grass. We don't need more asphalt. And I think that's all I had to say.
Thank you so much. Hi there.
My name is Elena Ippolito, and I live at 17 Winans Road.
Would you spell your first?
It's ELENAIPPOLITO.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm that any statements
I
that you make to the board will be true, accurate, and complete?
I do.
Ms. Ippolito, consider yourself under oath.
I just want to reiterate what my neighbors are saying. I don't believe, it's a beautiful home, it just does not fit the neighborhood. It's a monstrosity. You'll drive down the street and all you see is this gigantic house, and the rest of the homes are nice, simple, bi-levels. That's all I have to say.
Okay,
I wish
thank
you
you.
luck.
Okay. Anybody else at this time? Okay.
I would like to make a statement.
Would you like, please?
Yes, am I allowed?
Yes, you
Okay,
can.
good.
Yes.
I get it. No one likes change, and especially when we don't know what's coming. And when we say, well, first, the easy thing is when we get to redevelop a property, the engineering department, Livingston Engineering Department, is tough. And so you could guarantee that whatever situation existed gets, at least for 16 1, it's like 0 runoff, right? We're not allowed to create any more runoff than exists. So the benefit of development is engineering-wise, is we get to control 100%, and we'll be under the guidelines of the engineering department. So I know that might not make you feel better or warm and fuzzy, but for sure, now where drainage is not controlled, it goes wherever it wants to go. Now we have to control it. So there's a positive aspect of development. When I look at this project, and of course, when I designed it, I didn't want to make a big house. And when I realized, oh my God, it's only 53 feet wide. I can go to 70. I can go to 35 feet tall. I could not do any of these breaky roofline cute things. So to be, to protect this design, I think it is really appropriate. 50 feet wide, not that tall, not 35 feet tall, and with the sensitivity to the roof lines and architecture, I think you'd be really happy. Now, when you look at the number, and that's all we get to, what's the difference between 3,200 and 3,800? Well, it's almost 600 square feet. You won't see that in the front, and certainly, so no one on either side would be negatively affected by the size, certainly the front, and no one in the rear would be negatively impacted by the square footage. So we could go back and we could take a scalpel and we could take out square footage, but you wouldn't, as a neighborhood, reap any benefits of a slightly smaller family room or slightly smaller kitchen. But of course, as a design, we would feel it impact-wise. So for sure, from a architectural testimony that this fits this neighborhood, which is charming, you could be sure that it's not a monstrosity, it's not a McMansion. This is a well-thought-out plan that I think that you're talking about a 20,000 square foot lot, and we're only at 19%. We're a very, very, very low percentage. So I get your concerns, but I would be very proud to see this house get built. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to hear from some of the members of the board. Oh, wait, I think we have someone else. Please, come forward.
Yeah.
And you gotta listen to him first.
You got to listen to me first. Would you say your name and spell it, please?
My name is Judith Heller, Judith
Ms. Heller, do you swear or affirm that any and all statements you make to the board this evening will be true, accurate, and complete?
I do.
Consider yourself under oath.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy that the architect is so happy with what he's created. I don't understand the compelling reason or the hardship to be suffered without the extra 578 square feet. As I understand it, this is not a zoning change. It is an R4 lot. It should stick to the rules for an R4 lot. I don't care that it's bigger than that. That's not the point here. And I have not heard any hardship that would make this a compelling reason to add the extra space. It just doesn't make sense to me. I think that Mr. Barron also mentioned that he has not heard a compelling reason for the addition. We know it's going to happen. It's going to be at least 3,220. We don't understand why it has to be even bigger than that. And that's my statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's hear from some members of the board. Anybody? Please,
If I may.
please.
So first of all, my compliments to the community members, the objectors who have shown so much love. Everybody has come and said, we love you very much. We love the design of the house, but. So I appreciate the dignity that you guys have expressed and the politeness in your tone as you've offered your objection. So thank you for that. I think all the points made this is completely what I feel. I feel that the ordinances have been written out with a certain mindset and they must be adhered to unless there is a hardship. And in cases of hardship, zoning board does consider those hardships and approve those applications in many cases. During my time here, I've seen that personally. I fail to see a hardship in this particular application. And yes, this seems to be one out of the two biggest lots on that block. But the fact that it sits in the R4 zone, I feel if there is no hardship, significant hardship, then I feel it should comply to the square footage that the town asks for. That's just my thoughts.
Thank you. Anybody else?
So I will just reiterate what my colleague said. Thank you all very much for coming out and speaking your mind. It means a great deal to us when we can hear from the community, and thank you so much for expressing your views in, again, a polite and respectful way. We've seen a lot of growth in so many of the neighborhoods in Livingston, and not all of them have been well received by the neighbors, but it's happening all over town, and I understand what you're saying. I think that when the architect does draw the design with the family, they have to take into account also the neighborhood and the community, and it's a very delicate balance. I understand that this is an oversized lot, but again, I think, I forget who said the bulk of, or even according to the the plans. The bulk of the lot is behind, right? So your width of your property is not really that large. It's really the bulk that comes behind. I agree, I think this is too big for the neighborhood. And hearing from what the community and also just experience on the board, I do think that this is a tremendous increase, and probably is worth going back and revisiting this.
Thank you. Anybody else want to chime in? All right, well, I'll chime in a little bit. As my fellow board member said, this is a delicate balance, and neighborhoods do change. We do see it all over town, and we do like to keep character, but we do like to improve and move forward. I mean, we can't obviously say where we were in the 1970s as quaint and everything else, but when I did look at the house, I was on the street, I visit all houses, and I went up and down, I saw 24 and everything else, and I felt this was a little on the larger side. Compared to what's out there, I thought it would be a little bit overwhelming, even though it is a big lot, and obviously lots in the back, but you do have a wide, as you discussed, Mr. Devaney. There's width there, which does help a lot, but there's a lot of bulk looking at the house because of the roof. You have a lot of one-on-one, slopes and stuff, and that starts to bring everything, even though you didn't come up to the maximum height, I realize that brings everything up a little bit and starts to make it look that much bigger. So, I mean, maybe you could consider, bringing the numbers down, maybe bringing the massing down and, get a lot closer, and maybe by softening a few things, the public will feel a little bit better about this house, and the applicants can still get, the elbow room they're looking for.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else have any? So,
Yeah, so I guess we would like to.
you want to talk to them for a minute, or?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
We would like an opportunity to take everybody's comments into consideration and, I guess, trim some fat.
Okay.
If we could find, so yes, so if we could have a date maybe to get ready for, or do we
Jackie?
submit drawings first?
Hey, Ed, could I just say one other thing?
Please,
Yes,
yes,
thank you.
Mr. Sherman, please add.
Since you're going back to the cutting board and all, if you could also take into, consideration yes, I know the engineering department is in charge of drainage and everything else, but on the flip side, there is a lot of impervious coverage. Yes, the garage does face sideways, which, you don't maybe see it from the front, but if the garage did face forward, then you wouldn't reduce the impervious coverage by a lot. So just to keep those things in mind as well, if you're going back to the drawing board.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe I'll do some engineering drawings to show how we're going to do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jackie, when would be a good time? Or, I think they're plotting, 1 second. I couldn't hear. October 22nd, that should give you plenty of time to get drawings updated, approved, and
How much time do you need before,
2 weeks, Jackie?
2 weeks prior?
So that'll be September 27th or something. That should be enough time for you?
Yes, we'll make it work.
Yes. All right, so then we'll carry this without further notice required.
Okay.
And we'll see you in 2 months, and hopefully we can wrap it up.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. That's a good point. Let me just add that if you do come back without the variance, you don't need to come back,
Right.
right? If you still want to try to get a little bit more, then you have to come back, right? Okay. All right, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.